Hey, Coach. Appreciate you taking the time. I'm sure everyone's going to bug you about the quarterbacks, but I actually wanted to ask about the tight ends. We haven't really heard much about them. I guess obviously we know Will's out. I think, has Dominic been banged up? I know Elijah's been banged up. Have you even had some healthy tight ends? Can you talk about that, and if that's held back maybe your run offense and how you want to get things going with that as well?
We are banged up at tight end. Absolutely. Obviously, Will's out. Elijah has missed some time. Dom has practiced this spring, but also has been banged up at times. But I don't think it's, we're thin there, but it hasn't held back our progress in trying to run the football. We've got some really good options. Michael Parrott is a kind of a tight end fullback for us, does a really nice job. We got Will Huggins, and we got even Sawyer over now playing with us. So we have some bodies, and they're doing a nice job. There may not be your long, typical tight end type bodies, but we're still able to do what we need to do, and those guys are doing a good job.
Coach, we've got Susan Miller-Degnan from the Miami Herald. Susan?
Hey, Red, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Ken, I know we talked to you last month, I guess. Can we have an update on Derek King's status and his rehab and where he is right now as far as what he can't do? Because I know Manny said he was doing great, but this was the integral part where you don't want to go too fast. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't think a whole lot's changed from the standpoint of what Coach Diaz and myself said, is that he's doing excellent. He's far, I think, doing what we thought he would do, far exceeding expectations. He's in a really good place. Mentally, he's in a really good place. Physically, I'm no doctor, but I think our team is doing a great job, both medically and with the rehab process. And we feel really good about where he is. And to your point, there's just no reason to rush anything. He's like I said, we feel good about his progress, but he wouldn't be back at practice regardless at this point anyway. So.
Right. And also, I just want to know, what specifically are you looking for in this scrimmage tomorrow night? Could you give us an update? Just what you need to know.
Yeah, we're just going to go out and play. That's what's great about the spring. Practices have been really competitive now through 10, 11 practices, and really competitive. I mean, our defense is given playing with a great edge and flying around. I think offensively we are too, and it's just a lot of give and take, and I think that's what makes you better. You just want to see how guys handle, being in the stadium, how guys, if they act any different than they do in a normal practice. You just want guys to go compete. We want them to play physical. We want them to be fast and just, continue to execute. We're not, overwhelming them with a ton of scheme. We're not overwhelming them with a ton of, gotcha stuff. We're just trying to go out and execute good football plays and get better at the fundamentals, the execution, the little things that, maybe don't show up to the average eye, but we see progress being made in those areas because we've got an end goal and end result in mind, and this is just part of the process. So want guys to compete, want them to play hard, want them to play for each other, and see how they do when we do well, see how they handle things mentally and emotionally when we're maybe struggling, how they keep their composure, just all those things that it's hard to get in just a regular style practice.
Coach, got a few more for you. We're going to go to David Furones at the Sun Sentinel. David?
Hey, Red. You've said previously you want more of a lead back that gets around 20 touches and maybe a second guy spelling him next season as opposed to last year's carry distribution. Wanted to get an idea of what made you decide that's best for this team, this offense, and are any of the backs separating themselves, showing signs of being that guy?
Yeah, that's just my philosophy in general. And I think you look at most of the great offenses around the country, that's what they do too. So I think, like I've said before, running backs got to be able to get in a rhythm just like a quarterback or anybody else. You got to have some consistency. And so, look, that doesn't mean that all three aren't vital and important. And maybe some of the young guys coming in won't help us win too. I know that's an easy headline to run with and say, oh, there's only going to be one. Well, that's not the case. Everybody can have an impactful role. And, a guy may be banged up for a game, and so he doesn't even play, and the other guy gets 20-plus carries. But just – at the end of the day, in a game situation, again, it's not a must. So there may be a game next year where nobody has 20 carries, and that doesn't mean something terrible happened. You know what I mean? But you want to have some consistency, and you want to let guys get in a rhythm. Then another guy may have a little bit of a different role, but he comes in and he's fresh. And then maybe there's a guy that's good on third downs or this or that. And so we're a long way away from deciding those kind of things. The competition's been great. I think, again, we feel blessed to have three guys that we think can all earn that starting spot. And if something happened to that, whoever does earn that starting spot, we feel those guys could pop up and maybe we wouldn't miss a beat. But it's just more trying to get rhythm and continuity. Last year was a unique year, but it obviously didn't work. I mean, we improved running the football. We were better than, the previous year, but it wasn't what we wanted. It wasn't as consistent as we need. And so that's kind of just my philosophy anyways, regardless of last year. But, that's just a point of emphasis of trying to be more consistent running the football.
Coach, we've got David Lake from 24/7 Sports. David?
Hey, Coach, wanted to ask you if you could highlight a receiver that's maybe stepped up the most this offseason, whether it's an older guy that's responded to the young competition, the young guys pushing him, or a young guy stepping up into a bigger role, this year. And if you could highlight what's impressed you about that player.
I'm not going to highlight one for you because that's just, honestly, that's not fair to anybody. And it's not accurate. I do think all of them are doing some good things, and all of them are still having some areas to improve on. I do like a guy like Mike Harley's leadership. He's trying to not just be a good football player, but be a leader for us. You look at a guy like, Xavier Restrepo, who just gives you everything he has and lays it all on the line. And so he plays so hard, the ball finds him and he's successful. I feel really good about, Rambo and Wiggins and Keyshawn and DJ and, even Pope and all those guys. They're all doing some really good things, but I can't highlight one guy. That wouldn't be fair to that one guy or the group. Again, it's a process. We're a work in progress. We never would or expect the finished product to be done here in a week, but I think we're on the right track, but there's a lot of work to be done.
Coach, last two for you. We're going to go to Manny Navarro first from The Athletic. Manny?
Hey, Rhett, how are you?
Good, Manny.
Hey, so we talked to Don Chaney earlier, and he talked about how much he's been working on his footwork. I'm curious with the other two guys in camp, Cam Harris and Jalen Knight, and just specifically what you guys have been trying to get them to get better at this spring, and maybe where you've seen improvements from last season for both of those guys individually.
Yeah, no, I think Don hit it right on the head. Just it all works together. I think we're better on the O-line. I think we're bigger, we're stronger, we're a year in the system, we're more improved, we got better depth. So I think we're better there. I think those guys, what we've tried to do is just be consistent enough to where our tracks and our aiming points and all those little things that don't seem like a big deal matter. Patience, I think, is always a tough deal for a running back because sometimes they just want to get it and run, and especially when they're fast. And, there's a timing element to the run game of your track, pressing certain points, letting it unfold, getting your eyes in the right spot. I don't want them thinking a lot. I mean, they're running backs. You want them to run and not get tackled and run where there's grass. And there's a lot of instincts involved with that. So we're trying to just make it as consistent as we can where there's not a lot of constipation by analysis, and they can just, understand the tracks, understand the footwork, don't have a lot to think about, and just go play and try to create good habits to where they're just out there playing on Saturdays. They're not having to think about too much.
Last one for you, Coach. We have Chris Stock from InsideTheU. Chris?
Yeah, Coach, I was curious if you could speak on each of the quarterbacks, how they're doing, but also the progression either from last season or, beginning of spring, maybe what you've seen in these 11 practices here.
Yeah, I think they've all progressed well, and you would hope that because they're all getting probably more reps than they've ever gotten. I mean, Tyler Van Dyke is it's funny, coming off his freshman year, he may be the most experienced one we had, but I think these 10 or 11 practices so far have been invaluable for him to just get so many more reps, first and second group, and be in a little bit different position. I think he's improved a lot more from where he was last year, and he should be more comfortable in what we're doing. I think you look at a guy like Peyton Matoka's getting more reps than he's ever gotten and done some really nice things. And so I think just the more reps he gets, the more comfortable he's getting. And I think that's good. And I think then you got, Jake Garcia. He's really probably supposed to still be in high school, right? Going to prom here in a month or something. And for a freshman, I think he showed great poise and calmness and done really good. And so they make a lot of mistakes. That's what spring ball's for. but they're doing a good job of not repeating mistakes, which is promising. And hopefully tomorrow night they'll take that next step and just maybe show a little more maturation and maybe just show a little bit more consistency in their decision making and their accuracy and just how they move. At the end of the day, are you moving the offense or not? Are we moving it? Are we scoring points or not? Is really the biggest deal. And I think they've all gotten better, and I think they should because they're getting more reps than they've ever gotten. So.